Him we proclaim, admonishing everyone and teaching everyone with all wisdom, so that we may present everyone mature in Christ. These are the words of the Apostle Paul, sent by Jesus to make mature disciples for Jesus. The Group Chat Podcast exists to make disciples who love Jesus, His church, and His world. Welcome.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Group Chat Podcast. I'm your host today, Josh Rowland, and I'm here with Brian Lachlan.
Yes, it's just us today.
Just the two of us.
Wow.
We're gonna have a conversation, and you guys get to listen in on it. It's gonna be awesome.
Wow. We could have had a lot of other folks, but it's just us two today. So
just us two. It's gonna be wonderful. Intimate. It's gonna be personal.
I'm kind of nervous about that. We need some folks that need the filler for sure.
I love it. All right. So as you guys know, we're wrapping up. We're closing out Member Month at Remnant Church, and our theme this year was 15 years and beyond. We talked about a lot of stuff this month on the Group Chat Podcast. We talked about where we've been and covered the last 15 years. We talked about where we are, what mission looks like here in Richmond, Virginia in 2025. We talked about who we raise up and the importance of discipling our children. We talked about how we grow and mature. And then this week, we're talking about where we're going. Emphasis, you said 15 years and beyond. We're talking about the beyond today.
Yes.
What is next for us?
I always feel like it's Buzz Lightyear a little bit, with the beyond type stuff.
It's good nostalgia.
To infinity and beyond.
Good nostalgia tip. 15 years and beyond. So, this past Sunday, we walked out a lot of new things. One of the things you mentioned, Pastor Brian, is that we are longing to be a city within a city. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yes. Well, a lot of these questions I'm going to kind of just deflect back to you to unpack. However, one is that's just what we see in the scriptures.
Right.
Is the text we were at, it was Psalm 87:3, which is a very famous verse in a lot of ways, relative to its proximity to Augustine's city of God.
Yep.
So the verse is, glorious things are spoken of you, O city of God. So God's people are rightly understood as the city of God.
That's right.
There's the city of man that consists of all of those who are unbelievers, have, of course, walked away from God and are in need of trusting Christ and entering into the city of God to be a part of His people, and that people is manifest in and through local churches. So we, as a local church, are the manifestation on earth, the place in which the city of God is embodied.
That's right. So
God is with us.
You're not saying Richmond, Virginia is the city of God.
No. Yep. The city of God contains all of God's people throughout all of history, and that are presently a part of His people across the globe that live their lives out in communities. So it's very much the communities of God.
There you go.
In local churches. Yep. That's what we're talking about.
So what does that mean for us? How does that change the way we think about ministry?
It's gonna continue to sound like a wonderful, glorious hit parade or a broken record, however you want to look at it. But we're not going to move beyond the classics.
Yes.
That Christ changes everything. So every aspect of our lives we should think about as being a part of this city of God, being uniquely God's people or distinctly Christian. And that in many ways comprehensively looks different to various degrees, but more so than not, especially in our day and time, different than the surrounding city of man or the surrounding culture.
Yep.
So every area of our life is to be lived out distinctly as Christians, but that also means every area of our life has distinct expression as part of Remnant Church.
Right.
So you shouldn't, we never think, and we never have thought about this way, never will think about this way, as if it's just an event we do on Sunday and maybe another little small group thing we do during the week. It's comprehensively who we are as a people and entails everything that we do throughout the week in our daily lives, brushing our teeth, going to work, going to bed, working our jobs, loving our neighbors, during our leisure time, all the hobbies that we pursue, all the education that we pursue, families, multi-generation, down to every minute of every single day is ultimately rightly an expression of the kingdom of God lived out.
I feel like that lots of people will kind of assent to that, kind of hat tip towards it, but it actually takes a long time, a lifetime, to continue to bring our entire lives under the lordship of Christ. And so you continually learning more things about your life that's like, oh, wait, the gospel affects that too. Yeah. And so to your point, it's like, all right, I'm not going to be a drug dealer because Christ is Lord. And we're like, got it. But then
in Babylon, they're drug dealers. right? Like in Babylon, they're drug dealers in Babylon, but not in the city of God.
Shouldn't be.
That's just not the case.
That's right.
There may be redeemed drug dealers.
That's right.
You used to be a drug dealer.
But the point being that there are some, like, I don't want to say low-hanging fruit, but there's things that's where, like, see, that's what the Lordship of Christ means. But then beyond that, it's like, no. That means even down to, like, I bought a house in this neighborhood because it was down the street from other members of the church, and we wanted to be close, develop relationships, and be able to evangelize the neighborhood together.
Right.
And so that's very different than, not that it's wrong to say, hey, I'm a part of the city of God, I'm not a drug dealer anymore.
Right.
But even beyond that, it's not just I'm not a drug dealer anymore. And to use a silly example, it actually goes beyond that to all of the specifics.
I love how we've landed on that.
That's
one.
right. It's a drug dealer.
But to your point, that's exactly right. Is you're not just thinking of what I'm no longer, like Paul says in 1 Corinthians 6 in a lot of ways. I'm no longer these things. Now I am a new man or woman in Christ, and therefore, how do I live every part of my life with reference to being this new people?
That's right.
With a life together.
Yep.
So how do we mutually enrich one another? How do we work towards loving and serving our neighbors? How do we bear up one another? But this affects in concrete ways the jobs that we have, the jobs that we, the businesses that we start, the jobs that we seek, the hobbies that we have, the food that we eat, the way in which we eat it, what we do with our spending, how we cultivate resources in our lives. So it's really meant to. The implications for us is we need to continue to think in granular terms.
That's right. I think that the city motif is helpful there because of that exact reason. A city has an economy. A city has a full-orbed culture. It has businesses.
Right.
It has everything. It has families. It has education. It has all of these things. Yeah. And so the city motif is helpful, especially as we talk about as a city within a city, because Jesus said that not that He was taking us out of this world, but they'll be in it and not of it.
That's right. Yeah.
And so the whole point is that we are a city within a city.
That's right. Yeah. And the city, when you think about the city, it's self-sustaining.
Yep.
But it's also welcoming. This is a city for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's God's city in which He's come to redeem a people to Himself through His Son, and therefore we become a completely new people. But it also it takes care of itself in terms of how we think about everything in life, as you were mentioning.
Yep. So one of the ways that a city takes care of itself is by educating the next generation.
Correct.
And so one of the next things that we talked about this past Sunday is what is next for New City Academy. And so we can just talk about that for a little bit. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, one, I'm just overwhelmed by New City Academy. What an overwhelming blessing that it has been for multiple years now as we started to see God continue to bear fruit, and as the Lord has blessed the church with more and more children to raise in the instruction and admonition of the Lord, to know Jesus and who He is in His world and all that it entails. All of that is just beautiful. The New City is able to serve our church in that way.
That's right.
And all the kids. So as we step into this next phase of also offering, in addition to the in-home cooperative component, we have the hybrid school, which is going to be a 2-day-a-week K through 12 in-person, fully primary and secondary schools, which will provide wonderful additional undivided attention, particularization with teachers, a unique social environment in a lot of ways for the students to learn. All of these things that we have next for New City Academy is just going to be greatly beneficial for all the students, all the parents, and our church at large. And I'm just overwhelmed and thankful for it. So
yeah, that's the perfect word. When we were praying through it and planning over the last few years, I remember thinking like, oh man, if we could get 20 or 30 students to jump in the first semester, that'd be amazing. And we are at 70 students for the hybrid school. It's also worth saying, we've talked about this a lot over the years, but the goal has never ultimately been homeschooling. We're certainly not anti-homeschooling, but the goal has been what is the best way for each family to give their kids a comprehensive Christian education.
That's right.
That's always been the goal. So this would be very helpful to some
New City
families.
Academy has always been an avenue that we've provided as a means to accomplish that.
That's right.
So there's this, as long as you said the ultimate goal is providing a thick Christian education for our children so they know who God is and what His world's all about and what it looks like to live for Him.
Yep.
It's just wonderful.
Well, back to the city motif, there it is. It's like this is what a city does, is it helps provide these things together. So part of the city within a city is that this city, the city of God, has a particular culture, and we can all actually help implement that together.
Yeah, it's great. I was thinking about my two sons will be in it. And then my kids have been in New City since we started, which has been wonderful. And then
congratulations on Sophia being the valedictorian.
Sophia is going to be valedictorian, the first graduating class in a lot of ways this year coming up. She'll be at the top and bottom of the class. So I'm very, very thankful for that. But so they're actually not entering into the hybrid school because my two oldest are basically at the last 2 years, and they're going to be wrapping that up in home as they've been doing the whole time. Yep. But my sons are going to enter in 8th and 6th grade. So for us as a family, this is the stage of life where we're at, age of the kids, and I'm just overwhelmed for the opportunity, across the board.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's been wonderful. I think we're up over 200 students total.
Wow.
Between the homeschool and the hybrid sides of things. Unbelievable. I know Pastor Jason was at a conference recently and talking with some other classical educators, and when he said that we had 200 kids total and 70 in the hybrid, they asked how many churches were involved.
Right.
And so when he said it was one church, they said, well, how many people are at your church? Like 10,000.
Right.
So for them, the ratio, 200 kids, your church must have 10,000 people in it. So again, just overwhelming in what God's doing through the school and under Pastor Jason's leadership, but then also that our people, that the members of Remnant Church are this committed to raising up their children in the training structure.
Yes, what an example of proper faith in Christ and continue to...
What takes great sacrifice, to your point,
Yes.
great steps of faith.
Yes, and obedience to love their children well. And there's so much to be commended there.
That's right. So speaking of training, we're training our own children, but also God has blessed us with a pretty unique opportunity, I think, to train pastors from all over the world at this point through Grimke Seminary. We're talking about all the 50 states have been represented at some point or the other, and then through Grimke Europe, reaching different continents.
Right.
I mean, God's up to something big on the Grimke side of things. Tell us, what's next for Grimke Seminary?
Yeah, well, it's just in many ways similar to New City Academy. The Lord just opened up doors over the years since the beginning for us to come alongside churches and help provide training and support to raise up pastors, planners, and leaders. And Grimke was started for those purposes. So the seminary training pastors, similar in Europe and Grimke Europe. And the college just training men and women to just be better disciple makers and leaders in their local church context.
I've had so much fun since we started the Grimke College cohort here at Remnant. And so the 15 or so folks that are coming out to that and just like their hunger and growth, the kind of questions that they're asking, the excitement, just chasing rabbits, all that kind of stuff. It's been a good time for me too.
Yeah, I've loved it. Yeah, to your point, I very thankful to be a part and teach in different capacities across the landscape of Grimke, but also the cohort at our church is probably some of the sweetest time.
Yeah,
folks are so hungry, as you said, and just seeing all the neat things we're learning about who Christ is and His Word and the implications for life is just overwhelming. I mean, so we're just excited to see more and more of that. Now, some of the folks in our church need to jump into the college.
That's right. I would love
just become better disciple makers. It's a wonderful guided program of enrichment. You can do it at your own pace in your own time, and it just complements the overall discipleship that we have in and through Remnant and the church. And so, we just love to see more of those things. There's a lot more to be said there, but
one thing too that just popped into my mind as you were saying that is it's worth saying to our church members that what's happening through Grimke is a direct outflow of what God's doing at our church. And so it is, I think it's easy or tempting maybe to think of it as like, oh, that's that really cool thing that some of the pastors are doing.
Oh, that's right.
But that's not actually what it is at all. It's what God's up to, first of all, but then in and through our church.
That's right.
That not just because a lot of the professors involved are pastors of our church, but also our church hosts the building. Right. Our church gives towards Grimke. That the people that make up our church are, in some ways, this may be an overstatement, are like a validator of what we're saying. They're saying, hey, this is a great way to lead a church, and that's because of what God has done in our church. Like if we planted a church and it failed immediately, we probably shouldn't train other pastors yet. But instead, because God has worked powerfully in and through our church, so we're in this together is what I'm trying to say.
That's always a we. It's always a we. The Christian mindset is rightly we're celebrating what God is doing in our midst as we love and serve one another and get to give Him all the glory and celebrate what He does in and through us. And we celebrate those wins together, if you will. We celebrate those victories. We celebrate all the blessings, all the rewards, because it's ultimately the cumulative work that God does and through us,
right?
Not just a couple people.
That's right. Yep.
That's what it means to be the body.
It's never been about one person. It's about Christ, who is the head.
That's right.
That's good. That's good. So all of the different ministry that's going on in our kind of ecosystem is cause for great joy. It also requires a space. It requires place to do these things, and so
many spaces we have
many
already.
Spaces. That's right.
So especially moving forward, many spaces. We We were in the basement of the Tickfont.
Yes.
We've had the wonderful warehouse downtown that's taken on multiple iterations over the years. We have here.
I love seeing that in the slideshows. The old iterations of the buildings is really fun.
Yes, I love seeing them in hindsight as well. So it's Midtown. This beautiful building that we're in recording even right now has had multiple ways it's served by the parish house next door for hospitality and furthering all the great work God is doing in our church.
I got to Richmond because of the parish house, not only because of that, but as one example.
Right.
Pastor James had moved out into the parish house for a time, and so his house was available to be sold,
right?
And I was moving to Richmond, and so he literally called me on FaceTime and said, "Do you want to buy my house?" And I said, "Yes."
Maybe.
And then we handshook the deal. I hadn't even seen it yet. I was just like, whatever.
You were just on faith. This had to be the door that the Lord opened up.
The early church planting stuff. I was like, whatever, I'm in.
I'm there. Yes.
I hadn't even looked at it yet, but then I did, and I was like, sure, whatever, I'll buy it. And now here we are.
Yes. Yeah. Pastor Doug Logan does the same. So since we had available spaces, we were also, when he moved down from Camden, New Jersey, we were able to kind of like move folks around and accommodate well. So the parish house has been beautiful because of increased needs and utilization of the properties. We've been across town for the last 3 years almost now in a office space for the church. So we've been there.
A rental spot?
Even a rental spot that's been beautiful for training and equipping. We also picked up for Grimke a old house downtown by the Graduate. We've been in there, I think, 4 years now, something like that.
Sounds right.
And it's served our purposes.
That was my first building project when I came on staff.
That's
was the Grimke house.
Yeah, I think as we've added various pastors over the years, we tend to add them as we're doing a construction project. I remember Pastor James, like day one when he started, he was pulling nails on the floor here in Midtown.
Got to show what you're made of.
You got to, and so these next properties, these resources that the Lord's blessed us with to use for the continued mission here, we're just overwhelmed by the Stewart House.
Yep. I'm very excited about the Stewart House.
It's I first off just love property in general, being a builder. So the Stewart House. What a neat, first off, redemptive story. I mean, it started off in the 40s. We saw the article on Sunday as a church. It was called the Gospel Tabernacle.
That's right.
And then over time, that transitioned into being basically an evangelical Braille library. So folks from the outside just walking by just think, oh, it's a neat Braille library. But actually what they have done is taken sermons and books and essays from various wonderful Christian pastors and leaders and authors over time and throughout the last many decades have continued to print and proliferate those throughout the country. And then by God's grace, as we've been communicating with them, they were at a point of transition and were excited to honestly see us steward the property for the next phase of God's work in and through that building. So he's been working since 43 in that building.
It's amazing.
And then we get to steward it for the next phase. So it'll house us wonderfully for our administrative uses on the Remnant side of things for our offices. The main floor was the old sanctuary. So it's just going to be a beautiful mixed-use training ministry space for us.
You might call it a fellowship hall. We're going old school Baptist church.
Fellowship hall. We got about several fellowship halls at this point, which I love. So
a lot of fellowship going on.
A lot of fellowship going on. The yard out front, at least based on the illustration that we looked at Sunday, the hope is that will become a wonderful outside courtyard for us to fellowship, utilize throughout the week and through the various ministries that we have at the church. Bless the neighbors very well.
I'm excited about that. Ongoing legacy of gospel ministry right here, not only through our Midtown building, but also the Braille Library, but now being able to continue and not just give that away to become office space or townhomes or whatever it is, but it's still actually gospel ministry going forth out of that building. It's
I mean, a lot of, and we'll continue to talk about it in the years to come, but a lot of what we want to do is continue to create places in the public square that enable us to love neighbors well, our friends, and also provide environments that work for us to facilitate great opportunities for love for our friends, but also sharing the gospel with them. And so that will be just another space that's available throughout the week, especially for us to love on our friends and neighbors and also tell them the good news of Jesus. And so I think it's going to be outside of the architectural aesthetic enrichment that's going to bring to the neighborhood and be beautiful in accordance with Richmond as the beautiful city that it is. Not only that, it'll be beautiful kingdom work. The Stewart House is just going to be amazing.
That's right. So speaking about kingdom work, maybe the building that everybody's thinking about is that we announced this past Sunday that we are going to be one church in 3 locations.
3 locations.
We're moving towards Remnant Southside.
Yes.
I'm pumped.
Yes.
I'm also nervous in the right word, but there's a lot of good work to happen, right? Talk to us about that kind of exciting tension of like, oh man, this is going to be wild. What does this mean? Am I going south side? Give me some thoughts.
Yeah, everybody goes very, very, very nuts and bolts. I think keeping the big picture is always helpful. We continue to, as we mentioned, this will be we are working towards a church that where we're not going beyond 3 locations.
That's right.
So the hope for the future is we're not trying to go beyond 3 locations. That'll help us maximize our missional effort and strength across RVA. Also continue to help us facilitate being a kingdom resourcing church with all the various ministries that He's entrusted to us. So it'll also help us have various nodes, 3 strategic nodes across the city to continue to reach out that is accommodating well. And that'll also complement in the beyond the 15 years and the decades to come as we continue to develop things like we talked about the church planting.
That's right.
Residency, where we'll continue to multiply as God gives the increased growth here. It also will result in us multiplying out. So big picture, it'll help us further the mission, but also not ad infinitum, but It has a kind of a cumulative effect point that a 3rd location provides us that will actually be beneficial across the whole to further the mission here. Now,
Yep. I think our assessment to your point is that the 3 locations is right. So philosophically, is it allowable? Theologically, biblically, philosophically, is it allowable to go beyond that? Certainly. But 3 seems right for us in the place we are, and the time we are. And so intentionally capping that to then say, and from this point forward, we're looking to launch people out through the church planning residency.
That's right.
Then this building comes to us, and it has the house attached to it.
Right.
Or we can run the whole church planning residency right out of there.
You have another parish house that utilized to further all these ministries. The church itself, I believe, was a mid-century Methodist church of Stratford Hills United Methodist originally. Then it's been Emmaus Road, right. Korean United Methodist. So it's been within the United Methodist family, English-speaking congregation, Korean-speaking congregation that's been there more recently. And so it's just a beautiful facility. Be our first facility with parking. Adjacent.
We're going to have to stop everybody from going to that facility.
I know. For better or worse, folks are always excited about parking. Who's not? But 200 spaces on site, 5 acres. 200. Sanctuary, roughly, is very similar to Midtown in some ways, as we noticed probably from some of the video and the pictures. So it doesn't have the side wings or the side balcony, but upwards, once we finish bringing all the pews that they've removed, bring them back into the sanctuary so that we can celebrate what God's doing and also make room for the growth that He wants to accomplish. We should be able to upwards of 400 folks.
Wow.
Even in that particular sanctuary.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity for growth.
The educational space is far exceeds any of our other properties and is perfect. So for New City Academy.
Yep.
So we'll actually be working in our stage build out at that location to put the school in there at the turn of January. So basically be as the spring semester starts for New City Academy. We're looking to the school will go in there as we have all that educational wing, hopefully buttoned up in a lot of ways for usage, and then we'll work on the second phase of the build and then work towards launching that 3rd location on Sundays. So it's just an absolutely wonderful property the Lord's enabled us to steward for His work.
Yep. I couldn't be more excited. And you know that God will provide all the things that we need, including, but it's worth saying out loud, that we will need community group leaders. We will need service team leaders. We'll need people to continue to step up. It's just the way that it goes. And He always provides. Like the need, the opportunity, a lot of times is the circumstance that God uses to surface that out of His people. And so I'm not worried about it at all. I'm excited about how people are going to step up into those roles and serve. And so the 3rd location gives us that opportunity. But I also like that you mentioned that you brought it back around to New City, because it is a great reminder that all of this is thoroughly integrated. That's right. Whether it's the seminary, the school, the 3rd location, any of these things, the Stewart House, all of it is a part of our mission going forward. And one of the things that is needed for that mission to go forward is for us to be a generous people and to give. And so we closed out Sunday talking about that for this mission to go forward, we are going to try to raise $1 million over the next year.
Yes. Yes, and just to commend our congregation, that our folks are very generous.
Absolutely.
And we're so thankful for that. And as we continue to sacrifice for God's mission, to see that move forward, that requires us digging deep and sacrificing with even greater generosity as we move forward. And so the $1 million over the next year will help to bring all of these things together in terms of the properties and the ministries, all the resources needed to actually rightly further the work and the mission. We're kind of going to do the fundraiser over 2 stages, as we mentioned on Sunday. The first 90 days, we're seeking to raise the down payment to the tune of $600,000. And then in addition to that, $400,000 for upfits and other ministry needs to get all of the various properties, the Stewart House, their location, any additional needs across all of our other properties, so that we can rightly facilitate the mission of the ministry and all the things that God's doing in our church. So I have that $1 million, on just in a vacuum may sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking, especially this week coming in Remnant 1, about how actually we roughly are 1,200 to 1,500 people in the larger landscape on a weekly basis in our church. So what seems to be a big lift, possibly $1 million for one person, is actually just acts of great personal generosity where the load is distributed across all of our church.
That's what you said at the beginning. It's always a we. It's always a we.
Right.
So not only is God doing this work through us and what we're doing, but also we are being generous.
Yes.
Of course, there's individual responsibility. If we always think the other person's going to be generous, so I don't have to, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, you also don't have to be the only one that is being generous. Right. We're doing this together.
Yeah. And God gives different abilities and resources. So this is why we set aside a time to pray and fast.
Yes.
Is too many times when we think about generosity, we should never think about it as just a bill. Like we owe God a bill, is actually everything that He's entrusted to our lives, all the money, all the resources, all the time is ultimately by His hands, and we're stewarding it for His purposes. And so we want to ask Him specifically as individuals before Him, Lord, what do you want? What have you entrusted to me, and how can I give generously, sacrificially, even to the point of it actually hurts? So that actually we can see the mission go forward. And so we want to not do that in a hasty fashion, say, well, sure, I'd love to give. Let me just, throw some extra, couple, resources here in a kind of like hasty fashion.
Yeah.
But we really do want to seek the Lord. What is He leading all of us to give during the season in accordance with our resources? And we have all sorts of folks across the church that are able to give, $5 is a beautiful gift, sacrificial, joy-filled
exactly
gift.
Right.
But also we have folks in our church that also can give upwards to 7 digits all at once.
Yep.
And
praise God.
Praise God. And so this is
what does 1 Timothy 6 say? It's not. He doesn't say give all your money away. He says instruct the wealthy in this present age to be generous and to be rich in good works, to not put their hope in wealth but in God. And so that's the call on all of us, no matter what the situation is.
Yes, and this generosity is also an expression of us rightly storing up treasures in heaven.
That's right.
So, and that has also an economic side in terms of actually what we give with our money. And so it's a beautiful opportunity. As we do that, the Lord continues to show up that He is the one who provides daily bread for us.
Always.
And therefore we need to rest in that. That's not just when you're a young Christian.
No, come on.
You got your whole life ahead. But when you're an older saint,
when you got a couple more resources.
You got a lot more resources possibly. And a lot of it's already locked up in terms of investment. You also need to remember the one who provides the daily bread. And He's the one who provides our daily bread as a church, as He has throughout all these years and beyond. We're looking forward to that, and we want to be generously, sacrificial, committed, comprehensively, so that He gets all the glory and we get to delight in every bit of it.
That's right. Yeah, praise God. Good place for us to land the plane. So thankful for what the Lord's up to always across the globe, but specifically here at our local church, at Remnant Church. And so we're excited to see where it goes over the next year. And we will see you next week for another episode of the Group Chat Podcast. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Group Chat Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app and check out the links below if you're interested in more. Until next time, grace and peace.